Hey guys, I kind of had a epiphany moment last night, and I just wanted to talk about it. Because I figured if I'm struggling with things, maybe other people are struggling with things, and I'm out here doing my best. At least it's what I like to think. But in reality, I'm being complacent, and that's just not okay. There are goals and dreams that I aspire to attain and, things that I want to do with my life, and being complacent is just not going to allow me to do that. So I wanted to, me being a problem solver, wanted to find a way to kind of fix things. So that's what I did. I started doing research on, how to motivate yourself if you're not externally motivated by things like, I'm going to call it peer pressure, even though it's not peer pressure in the sense that you would normally think of it being. Like being peer pressured into drinking alcohol or smoking weed or smoking cigars or cigarettes or whatever. Not that kind of peer pressure. I'm talking about like on Instagram, you see, like for me specifically, I see all these nice cars. I see people who are being really successful in business, and I see people who are, really successful in the gym and really successful with their religion. Just stuff like that. I personally am not peer pressured by that. I am not motivated by seeing it. Maybe I'm just at a point where I'm desensitized to it. I have no clue. All I know is that it no longer motivates me to be better myself. So I started doing some research, and I'm going to be completely blunt. And I do apologize real quick. I have the windows down because my car is off. If you can hear like any traffic or whatever, or if the wind is being too loud. But I'm going to be 100% blunt. The truth is, like I said before, I'm just being complacent. I spend too much time on my phone. I spend too much time playing video games. Spend too much time watching YouTube and just not putting work into what I actually want to do and become as a person. So I looked up some ways to kind of, motivate myself internally to help myself get back into the habit of doing like really, really well. When I was a junior, like a late junior in high school, into like early, like almost all the way through my senior year of high school as well, I was just really, really sharp. Like blade wise, I was really sharp. I was really intelligent, I guess you could say. Like the way I would even talk to others was intelligent. And I knew what I was doing. I knew what I wanted to do. And I chased all of my goals with a passion. And, I took a hold of every moment that life threw at me. And now it's just, I feel like I'm wasting every single day. It's been this way for like 3 weeks. I don't want to live like this. And I don't want any of my viewers to live like this either. So one of the first things that I noticed, just even without looking anything up, I immediately need to stop spending so much time on my phone. Like a dopamine detox, if you will. I would love to do a electronic detox, just no electronics. But the reality is, I go to college. 90% of my schoolwork is done digitally. So I'm not going to be able to avoid doing anything on a computer. I could do things like I could go to the library opposed to doing it on my personal computer. That would allow me to abstain from just like video game distractions, and a change of environment would help. That leads me to my next thing as well. Don't hold yourself up in your room. And I'm saying this as someone who literally didn't get out of his room for anything but classes or the gym or like unless it was mandatory, like grocery shopping, or if I was out of food and I had to go get food, I'd do that. I stayed in my room other than that. There was nothing that could get me out of my room. And it wasn't even that I didn't want to get out. It was just I had no need to. So I'm saying that as someone who literally just did that. Don't do it. Alright, go out. You know, even if you're going to go for like a 5-minute walk, or find a place to sit down, and if you're going to scroll YouTube or read a book, go outside and read a book. Enjoy the breeze. Enjoy God's nature. Because if I'm being honest, that alone, like especially while the weather's nice, that alone might have fixed 99% of my problems. So, yeah, highly recommend you go outside, do some stuff. Find something out of your room. Like if you're a college student, find something outside of your campus that you enjoy to do. Like for me, I like bowling. I haven't gone bowling since the season ended, which sucks. I really need to get out and do that. But that goes back to the motivation thing. Find something. Like, I also like to rock climb. Granted, I don't have the money to rock climb. I have the time. I just had the urge to say that I didn't have the time to do rock climbing, but I wasn't doing anything but watching YouTube and playing video games anyways. So, another thing is just don't give yourself excuses. Like I just did, like I just demonstrated literally live here. I have the urge to say I don't have time for this or I don't have time for that. But in reality, I have hours and hours of my day to do whatever I want. And today especially, because my last class was canceled, which I chose to use this time to record a video. You know, just find something to do. It's really that simple, honestly. In hindsight 2020, I guess. But, yeah. For context, I just didn't feel motivated. I had to convince myself and almost bargain myself and like bribe myself to go hit the gym every single day. And that's something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy going and getting an arm pump or a back pump or a chest pump. But I have to convince myself to do it. That's not something I want to do for something that I enjoy. So that's another problem as well that I'd like to talk about, is just, you know, sometimes you lose motivation. And the only way to really combat that is to turn your motivation into discipline. You want to utilize your initial motivation as a foundation, not necessarily like the foundation itself, but you want to use that motivation to build the foundation for good discipline. And that is something that I myself personally haven't done in a long time. I have the discipline to go and hit the gym. I go anyways, aside from maybe a leg day here and there, because let's be honest, who wants to hit legs? But other than that, I go. Even if I go alone, I go. But when it comes to everything else, like school, or like my detailing business or anything like that, I just don't have the proper discipline to pursue it and like get really good at it. And there was a really, really interesting Instagram reel that I saw, which, you know, funnily enough, because I doom scroll Instagram, the universe has a way of replacing you. If you are not going to, you know, you have all these dreams and aspirations. If you are not going to be the one to pursue those dreams and aspirations, if you're not going to be the one to grab it by the throat and, like, you know, chase after your dreams, be the person who you want to be, right? If you're not going to do that, the universe will find someone who will. And the universe will give all of your dreams and aspirations to someone else who wants it more. And I put quotations around that because that's another like common misconception that me myself have like told myself, is that I just simply don't want it enough. And while that's true, it's also sort of not true. Because I really, really want to achieve my goals, but wanting something is not necessarily like, it's very abstract. It's an abstract goal almost. So you want to specify your goals, write it down, and you want to especially like convince yourself that you are capable of achieving those goals. That'll go a long ways. So I think I've rambled on long enough about like the whole motivation spiel. I just kind of didn't like, especially when I was trying to find YouTube videos on like how to fix internal motivation problems. As someone who isn't externally motivated, a lot of it is just fluff. I'm gonna be completely honest. It's a lot of like inspirational talk, and it's not like, especially in the context of like what I'm going through right now, as someone who, as of right now, like, because I don't feel external motivation now doesn't mean I won't ever feel external motivation. But hearing an inspirational talk isn't necessarily going to make me do something. I mean, I guess if it's powerful enough, it will. But, you know, and I'm sorry there's like a lot of filler words in here. I'm still, I'm just freehanding this. I have no scripts in front of me, no nothing. Still relatively new to all this, and I'm also new to life. I'm sure there is a good YouTube video out there that explains my exact problem and how to fix it. But I wanted to bring some more attention to it because I'm going through this, and one, not only does talking about it make me feel better about myself and, make me feel like I'm actually getting somewhere, but it holds me accountable in a way. Also, because YouTube is something that I want to do, and this gives me an opportunity to build my personal brand. So it's like multiple birds with one stone. Yeah. Sorry to loop back around, but you just have to dopamine detox. At least that's one of the biggest things that I need to do. And just really, really start the work. Once you start reducing the amount of things that are distracting you in your life, you can then start building your foundation for good discipline, which is just to show up. Like in the sense of going to the gym, it's literally showing up to the gym. Sometimes I just don't feel like, I don't feel like going to the gym. So I go anyways, and maybe, depending on how I feel when I actually get there, because my mood can change the second I walk into the door, maybe I go light that day. Most times I go my normal weight, and I just, maybe I stop a rep or two early. But sometimes I'll just choose to go light and have a light day and say, you know what, I showed up to the gym. I can be proud in the fact that I showed up to the gym. And it's the same with classes. If you go to school, or you go like any kind of school, high school, college, show up to your classes. Because that, like, granted, high school is kind of like really boring. At least it was for me. But it builds discipline in the sense that you are showing up to something that you don't want to go to. Take that opportunity and translate it into something else. That's what I did when I was exiting high school, and then I lost sight of it because I didn't upkeep it. Like, I go to my classes here in college, but I didn't translate it to anything other than classwork, almost. Another thing that could really help build discipline is change your environment. And I do mean this in a literal way. I mean, like, reorganize your room if you can. If you're in a house and you can reorganize your room, do it. Maybe it's not reorganizing your furniture, but maybe reorganizing your desk, right? Reorient the stuff on your desktop just to give you a sense of unfamiliarity. And once you do change your environment, you need to make that environment a place for, if you want to do deep work, you need to be doing deep work in that environment. You don't want to change your environment and then start playing video games, because you'll just keep looping around and around and around. And that's something that I personally did. So, I'm just trying to recirculate all these thoughts in my brain, and by doing so, I'm hoping that I can convince myself to be better about it myself and to follow by example, or lead by example, not follow. Yeah, the biggest thing about discipline is just showing up to do something. And don't set your expectations too high about it. And I think that might be where my biggest mistake went, because on Instagram I saw all these successful people, and then when I would not see any results, I would not necessarily get down, but I would get down about it. It would, it just doesn't feel nice. So lower the expectations. Opposed to saying, you know what, I'm doing this for money, start making it about your identity. Say, for example, for YouTube, say I am someone who uploads on a consistent basis and has a personal brand. Fine. If you are doing YouTube for money, or as a side business, which is kind of what I'm trying to do, especially with gas prices these days, that's fine. But make your discipline and your discipline system about your identity, about who you are as a person. Not necessarily oh, I need to do this for money. Or I need, because now you're making it sound even subconsciously, you're making it sound like you need to do it out of necessity, not because you want to. If you can convince yourself to do something because you want to do it, then you will just automatically do it because it's something that you want to do. It's something that you get rewarded for in your brain, because your brain enjoys that activity, right? So, and that's another really big issue of mine, is that I don't take advantage of that enough. So, I guess just keep in mind there are going to be people that are better than you. Learn from them. Don't compare yourself to them. It's okay to not have external motivators as long as you yourself are the motivator. Have internal motivation. If you're a person of religion, that should be a really big motivator. I'm so new to my religion that I'm still trying to find what it means to be, a person of faith. And that's a path that I'm going to have to just keep walking on my own until I eventually figure it out. But having a internal motivator is much better than having an external motivator. And it is also very, very important that you don't rely on motivation. What you want to do is you want to use your motivation to build discipline. And then that discipline will carry you through whatever. Now, if it's a one-off thing, I have really motivated to go play tennis or something. And, tennis it's just a hobby, right? You're not necessarily trying to go pro at it or anything like that. You're not trying to make a business around it, whatever. Then, sure, it's not imperative for you to show up to tennis every single day, especially if that's not something that you want to do. If you lose that spark for tennis, then by all means find something different. But when it comes to something very important like a side hustle or a business or a personal brand like this in my case, or hell, even about the car culture that I am a part of, it is very important to have discipline about it. I want to do so much stuff to the car that I am sitting in right now, but I have to not cut corners, and I still have to remember that my finances are a thing, and I'm not made of money. Despite, me sitting in a 2017 Ford Mustang GT, right? Arguably a, expensive car, if you will. So, yeah, I think that's about all that I'd wanted to talk about. I realized the last two videos have been kind of long. My last video did really good, I plan on doing more POV drives like that. Um, I just, especially now with the gas prices, I have to have a really good reason to go out. But I expect more of those. I still haven't really committed to a consistent upload schedule, but just know I'm thinking about YouTube, and especially now, like I woke up today and I really wanted to change for the better, like about the whole entire ordeal that I went through, not having motivation, not wanting to do anything, and I wanted to change that. So that's part of the reason why I came out here and recorded the video. So I know there's a lot more to this than probably what I went over, and I know that I probably repeated the same thing over and over and over again. It's just how I am for now. Hopefully I get better at that. But yeah, I just wanted to be better, so I'm utilizing my time to do so, and you guys should too. Don't feel bad about feeling bad. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay to not be motivated. It's okay to not have discipline, as long as you do something about it. I've always lived by you reap what you sow, and it couldn't be more true. So, reap what you sow. If you want $1 million, live the life that'll make you earn $1 million. If you want that nice car, build the habits of maintaining a nice car, and then, the actual financials to achieve that nice car, whatever that may be, and get that nice car. Whatever it is, chase it with a fire in your heart. And I'm saying that, not just for you guys, but also for me. This whole entire, recording session has just been me trying to talk to myself and the camera and further motivate myself. And that's another thing. Spend time with yourself. Be bored. And, because when you spend time with yourself, you have conversations with yourself. At least I do. I guess everybody could be different. But when you have conversations with yourself, you actually realize what you want, what you really enjoy doing, and there's not extra noise. So that's what I plan to do. So thank you guys for sticking with me. For those of you who actually stick around and watch the videos when I do upload them, I greatly appreciate it. Leave a like if this video was helpful to you, if it, touched you, touched your heart, stuff like that. If there was maybe something that I missed, which I'm sure there is, make sure to drop it down in the comments, because your comment could, not only help me, but it could help plenty of other people. I know my community is pretty small, but it could grow. Well, I say it could, but it will grow. So, I think with that, I'm going to end the video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.